Hey you guys, welcome back. I am feeling super low energy today. If you're new, hello, my name's Brittany and I have a serious makeup addiction. So today I'm going to be focused on refining my eyeshadow palette, so I'm going to do this in a declutter style. I have obviously way too many eyeshadow palettes, so I'm going to go through all of them today. So if you guys like declutters, make sure you guys give this a thumbs up and let's jump right in and let's do this! Okay, so the first one on top is going to obviously be the Morphe and Jaclyn Hill palette. I'm going to show you guys all these, that way if you're interested in any of them, you can get a glimpse of what they look like. You can see this is very well loved. This is one of my all-time favorite eyeshadow palettes. I'm definitely not getting rid of this. I love this for freelancing, but I feel like this is such a universal palette, so definitely not getting rid of this one. That's one of my all-time favorites. And then a lot of these ones on top I probably won't be getting rid of because they are rather new. So obviously we have the Natasha Nona Tropic palette. I just did two tutorials on this and a review on this palette. I love it. I do think that these three shades right here are a little bit more difficult to work with, but overall I love the formula of the mattes. I think that is what justifies this palette for me. And you can see I've already made a dent in quite a few of these. I've used the shit out of this. I really do like this. I know it's a very controversial palette right now, but I am not getting rid of it at all. So this is going to stay with me with that one. Next one will be the BoxyCharm and Pure Cosmetics palette. I got this in this month's BoxyCharm. I love the formula of these. I think they are super soft, like this shade right here. Yes, girl. And this one, I did a look with this on my Instagram. These are so good. They're so soft. I really want to work with this one here. So this is new to my collection, so I'm definitely not getting rid of this one. And then we have one of my all-time favorite eyeshadow palettes already. This is the Too Faced Chocolate Gold palette. The ones when I get to the back, those are going to be the ones that I start to declutter. So the Too Faced Chocolate Gold, if you're looking for a really nice metallic eyeshadow palette, I absolutely love this. You can see it's very well loved. I've used a ton of this. This shade right here, Rich Girl, I'll give you guys a swatch of this one. It is so beautiful. Like the metallics in this palette are so stunning. I absolutely love it. I think the shade was really beautiful too, this pink. It's just, they're effortless. They're such beautiful metallics. So you have 4 matte shades right here and all the rest are metallic. So this is definitely a palette for you if you are looking for a more metallic eyeshadow palette. But I love this one. This one is not going anywhere. Now just so you guys know too, when I watch declutters, I don't like get off on the fact that people are getting rid of a ton of palettes. I am just doing what's practical for me because I've literally bought every single thing in this drawer almost. There's been a couple things that are sent to me, but I'm not doing this to necessarily get rid of all my shit. You know what I mean? Like, I've worked hard for this. I love makeup. I'm a collector at heart. So yeah, if you're expecting me to get rid of a shit ton, don't be expecting too much. So next things are going to be my new unique shadows. These are all mattes and satins. I was not impressed with the metallics in this collection at all. I thought they were way overpriced for what they are. I see that so many people rave about them, but I think these mattes are beautiful. And this shade right here, these are so soft. Like, these are Natasha Nona soft, and they're so pigmented. These are such good shadows. I really do love the mattes and the satins, but I would not recommend the metallics. I did a unique review on my channel before, so if you guys are interested in that, go check that out. So those are going to stay with me because they are still new. And then we have a bunch of Makeup Geek single shadows. I don't really have the energy to go through all the shades that I don't want to use, but I love Makeup Geek shadows. But I'm going to tell you this one right here. I got this. I don't even know where I got this. I don't even know what brand it's from. This one is going to get taken out and just, I'm going to toss it because I have no use for it. But I just love Makeup Geek shadows because they're so affordable and I feel like they're a really good tool for freelance artists. But my foiled shadows are definitely my favorite. Like, I love the foiled shadows. I definitely prefer other matte shades, but the foiled shadows are where it's at with Makeup Geek. So I am going to keep all of these for now, and then I'm going to kind of have to go through it. Like, you like my busted ass eyeshadow palette too. And these are both in Z palettes, and these were limited edition, I do believe. So I'm going to hang on to those. I just don't have the energy to go through all of them right now to pick out each individual shade that I don't want to keep. So next thing is going to be the Anasazi Beverly Hills Soft Glam palette. I think this is one of the best eyeshadow palettes that they have done. I love this. I've used it several times since I got it already, and I love the formula on these. I think they blend out so easily. I just think this is the best formula-wise that they've ever done. It's very similar to the Modern Renaissance, but I think this is better. It's just effortless. It's perfect for every day. It's perfect for beginners. It's just a perfect everyday or every night eyeshadow palette. So this one is definitely not going anywhere. Are you guys bored yet? Okay, next one is going to be the Morphe x Kathleenlights palette. I wish this was permanent. This was such a good eyeshadow palette, and this green is everything. Like, I'm one of those people that don't think that swatches do like anything for eyeshadows. But this palette was so good. I'm surprised that it was not permanent. This was one of my favorites that Morphe came out with, so I'm definitely hanging on to this because you can't get it anymore. But these next two, I think I'm going to pass these on because I just never use them, and they're just so boring to me now because I have so many other ones. So this is the 25A and 25B palette. I bought these both together, and I just never use them. So I do think I'm going to pass these on to give them to somebody in my family or friends that could use them more than I can. So then the next one is going to be Morphe. I try to keep all of like my collections together. So this is the Morphe Jaclyn Hill palette, the original one. I think I'm going to pass this on, as much as I hate saying that, but you can see it's been well loved. I used to freelance with this all the time, but I just don't follow Jaclyn Hill. Like, the only reason I bought this initially was because I was like a die-hard Jaclyn Hill lover, and now I'm not as much anymore. And I just feel like I have other shadows in my collection, and I feel like her newest one is so much better than this one, so I do think I'm going to pass this on. I never thought I would see the day that I got rid of that, but I'm going to put that in my pass pile. So this next one is the Urban Decay Naked palette. I will never get rid of this because this was like the first eyeshadow palette I ever bought. It's just very nostalgic for me. This was like what launched my makeup addiction. So this will just never go anywhere. I don't really use it anymore, but it just has that special place in my heart. Like, look how worn and beat up it is. But I just love it. It's just very nostalgic for me. So I'm definitely going to hang on to that one. And then the next one will be the Morphe 35F palette. I thought this palette was so beautiful. I just never really reach for it. It has all mattes on the bottom here, and then all the rest are metallic. I might pass this on though. I'm just kind of like over Morphe at this point. It's so hyped up, and just I have so much of Morphe. I kind of want to expand my horizons in my collection, but I do feel like this is a beautiful metallic palette. Like, I'll give you guys some swatches, but they're kind of like the more chunky metallics. I don't know. I'm debating hard now because I do really love this for when I need a really nice metallic. Like, I think this is one of their best palettes they've ever done. I don't know. Maybe I will hang on to it because those are looking bomb AF right now. I'll give you guys a couple more just so you guys can really see, but they can get a little bit chunky feeling, but they are super metallic. I hope you guys can see. I'm like such a bad swatcher, but here, let's give you guys that gold up here. Okay, yeah, we're gonna keep this one. I lied. We're keeping this one. And then the next one is going to be the 350. This is the last one I'm gonna have for Morphe. I actually might pass this on. I want to take out the Jaclyn Hill palette really quick because this is like my go-to Morphe palette now, and I feel like everything that I can get out of the 350 I can get with the Morphe and Jaclyn Hill one. I don't know. I think I'm going to pass on the 350. I never thought I'd see the day for that either, but it's just nice for freelancing, but I don't freelance nearly as much as I used to either. But I just feel like I have all these in individual shadows or other palettes, so I'm going to pass this on. It's time. Let's pass that on. Okay, so the next one is going to be this Anasazi Beverly Hills Master Palette by Mario. This is another palette that should have been a permanent eyeshadow palette. This is such a beautiful, very neutral, but so sultry and sexy and beautiful. Like I said, this should have been a permanent palette. I love the formula on this. I just love every single shade in this. This just screamed Kim Kardashian. Like, this is what the KKW times Mario palette should have been. I don't know. I just thought this was so good, and I feel like this is such a good palette. Unfortunately, you can't get it anymore, so I am going to keep this one. I won't swatch it and tease you guys, but just know this palette was so good. I was honestly surprised that they didn't at least bring this back again. Maybe they will eventually, but I do think they're working on a second one. So the next one is going to be the Anasazi Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance palette. This is another one that is one of my all-time favorites. I just love the berry tones in this palette. I think this is such a good formula again. I just love these types of palettes. I've loved every single Anastasia palette that I've gotten, so this one is going to also stay with me because I just love the formula. I love the shades. I just love it. Plain and simple. So the next one will be the Too Faced Semi-Sweet Chocolate Bar palette. I kind of want to get rid of this, but another reason I don't is because this is what I wore on my wedding day. But it's so beaten up, like Jaclyn got a hold of it, so I might get rid of this one and get a new one. I don't know. I'm so undecided on what I want to do with it because I literally never reach for it. Actually, I think I'm going to hang on to it because I do plan on putting my dress in like a showcase when we redo our closet. So maybe I'll put this in there with that. So I will hang on to it for now, but it's going to be for that reason alone. So I won't use it anymore, but it is going to go in that shadow box with my dress and all that stuff. Let me get these two out of the way because they're kind of bugging me. So these are the Bitsy Cosmetics. I got these at Sally's. They're like little quad palettes that you can create. These shadows are not good at all, so I'm going to pass these on. But I think the idea of these is so nice because you can do custom palettes right in store. You pick your shades, but they don't have a really big variety, and I love this one. It says, I may not be perfect, but my makeup is. I mean, I think the idea of these is so good. I just think they need to improve a lot more with it, especially their formula and their shade range. But I like the idea of these, so I'm going to pass these on. Next one is going to be the Urban Decay Naked Smoky palette. I bought this only because it was on sale, and I kicked myself in the ass so hard for it because I never use this. Like, this looks brand new. So I, like I said, never use this, so I definitely am going to pass it on to somebody else. It looks like it's in mint condition, so this is going to be going in the pass pile. I think it is a beautiful palette, but there's so much in my collection that I can get a smoky look with. I love the packaging on it. I love Urban Decay shadows, but this one I'm just going to pass on. Okay, next ones are going to be the Natasha Nona Holiday palettes. I got both of them, the shade Aries and Joya. I think these are absolutely beautiful. These got kind of hit or miss reviews, but I freaking love these ones. Aries is definitely my favorite of the two, but I've gotten some really beautiful looks using the Joya one as well. But, I mean, they're just so beautiful. And this shade here, oh my god. I love the Mint Frost shade in the new palette, but this shade is so beautiful. So I love these. These are not going anywhere. I love Natasha Nona eyeshadows. I do wish that her metallic formula would go back to what it was though, because those have been kind of missing the mark for me lately. Even in these ones, there's a couple in there that are kind of like meh, but I still think that these are beautiful eyeshadow palettes, so I'm going to hang on to both of those. Okay, this next one is going to be the Dose of Colors Hidden Treasure palette. I think I'm going to get rid of this because as soon as I got this palette, I dropped it, and this shade both completely shattered, and I have so many other shades like these other ones. But if those weren't broken, I would keep it because the metallics in this are absolutely stunning. Like, they are really intense. I don't know if you guys can see that there, but they're super intense, but I feel like I can get similar looks. Like, look at these two shades right here. They look so similar. So with that Morphe palette, I can get a similar look, but I still think these are more metallic than like these ones here. So I do think this is a really good palette, but since it's broken, I can't really use it the way that I want to, so I am going to pass this one on. Okay, next one up is going to be the Colored Rain Queen of Hearts palette. I just got this for Christmas, so this is not going anywhere. And it is such a beautiful eyeshadow palette. My mother-in-law got this for me, and I freaking love it. I need to use it more, but I think it is so beautiful. Like, are you guys noticing a trend with all my eyeshadow palettes that kind of look all the same? But I know what I like when it comes to eyeshadows, and this is definitely what I like in an eyeshadow palette. I love these shades. I love the formula of them, so this is definitely hanging out in my collection for a while. Okay, this next one is going to be the Metal Matte Kat Von D eyeshadow palette. This palette is massive. That's the only thing I don't like about it. Like, it's so bulky. It takes up so much room in my collection. But the foiled shadows in this palette are so beautiful. I'm not really crazy about the matte, so I'm kind of debating if I want to hang on to this or not, because these shadows up here are absolutely beautiful. Like, I'll swatch this one really quick for you guys. I gotta put the palette down because it's huge, but look how beautiful that is. Like, I don't know, I kind of want to depot just these and then get rid of all the mattes. So that might be actually what I do, like put these in a Z palette and then get rid of the mattes, because I don't love her matte formula, and these are really cool toned, and I typically don't go that vibe. So I think I'm going to depot these and then kind of give away this. I don't know. But that's like the plan, is keep those Metal Crush shadows. So I'll put this in my pass pile, but that is my plan for that one. So this next one is going to be the Pure Cosmetics Soiree Diaries. I got this in BoxyCharm last month. This was an okay palette. I feel like I do have a lot of other shades like this in my collection, so I'm going to pass this on, but I still love the formula of these. Like, I love how smooth they are. I love how pigmented they are. Like, that is such a nice eyeshadow right there. Like, this was a really good palette, especially to get in BoxyCharm, but because I have so much in my collection like this already, I kind of want to keep just that shade though. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll do that, but I do think I'm going to pass this on. Okay, the next one is going to be the Tartelette and Bloom palette. This is like the one palette, if you are new in makeup and looking to start a collection, this is such a good eyeshadow palette. This is one of my all-time favorites. I think this palette is so good for beginners. Like if you're looking to build a collection or this is like your first time high-end purchase, I think this is such a beautiful palette because it's perfect for daytime or nighttime or both. Like you can amp up your look with these darker shades here. It's got some pops of shimmer. I just think this was such a beautiful palette. I love the formula on these. I am going to keep this because I really like this for beginners makeup. So I'm going to keep that for that reason there. And then the next one is going to be the Urban Decay Gwen Stefani palette. I don't think I've ever even touched this. Like now that I think about it, I bought it because it was on sale because that's what Urban Decay does. Like that's the one thing I probably won't buy from Urban Decay anymore is eyeshadow palettes because they always go on sale. I love the packaging on this though, but I never use it. You can't get it anymore, so I do think I'm going to pass this on just because I don't have a use for it. I can't do tutorials with it anymore, so I am going to pass that on. I'm kind of regretting buying that now. Okay, these next two are going to be, oh my god, everything's gonna drop. These next two are going to be the Collab Makeup Eyeshadow Palettes. This is the shade Best of the Day and Get Ready With Me. I'm going to keep these because I think these are really good, affordable eyeshadow palettes. I really do like these. They're not the best eyeshadow palettes I've ever seen in my life, but I think these are awesome for affordable eyeshadow palettes. So I'm going to hang on both of these. This one reminds me a lot of the Modern Renaissance palette, so I think I'm going to do a dupes video of that, maybe. If you guys want to see that, let me know. And then this is just a really nice neutral palette. So I'm going to hang on to both of these for now, and then I'll grab this one, see how it fell. This is the Maybelline and Makeup Shayla City Mini palette. This was a really nice drugstore eyeshadow palette. I do really like this, so I will hang on to it just for a drugstore palette option. You guys probably see that I have a ton of high-end eyeshadow palettes because that's what I feel like the drugstore really lacks in is eyeshadow palettes. I've had so many at once that I've just taken back because I don't think they perform the way that they should, so I am going to hang on to this just for a drugstore option for me. Then we have the Urban Decay Vice 4 palette. I just never reach for this. This is actually what the girls used in my 5-year-old best friends do my makeup. This is the shade green that they use. They beat it up. But I never use this palette, so I am going to pass it on. I think the packaging on it, like Urban Decay always slays it with the packaging, but I bought this because it was on sale and I shouldn't have. When am I going to learn to not buy Urban Decay palettes on sale? So this next one was sent to me. This is the Carradine Nudes and Roots palette. I thought this was a really nice palette, but again, I have so many shades in my collection like this, so I am going to pass this on, but I do feel like this is a really good like bridal-esque or freelance style palette. But I already have other palettes that I love the formula of more, so I am going to pass this one on. And then we have the Urban Decay Nocturnal Shadow Box. I never use this, but this is the first eyeshadow palette that my husband bought for me, so this is not going anywhere. It's very nostalgic to me, so I will never get rid of this just for the sake that it's one of the first palettes that he ever bought me. So that is going to stay with me. And then I'll skip to this one because this is the other palette that he got for me. This is the Maybelline 24K Nudes palette. Never use this because I don't really think it's that good of a palette, but it was a gift from my husband, so I am going to hang on to that. This next one, I probably have hair all in my drawers, but this is the Crown Glam Metals palette. I got this in BoxyCharm, I think 2 months ago. This was a nice palette, but I am going to pass it on because it's just not very inspirational for me. Like, I don't get inspired when I look at it, so I'm going to pass this on. I thought they were decent. I do think I have other metallics that I like more than these ones, but for $20 in a BoxyCharm, I'll take it. So I'm going to pass that on. Next one is going to be the Essence All About Nudes eyeshadow palette. This is another really good one for an inexpensive eyeshadow palette, and you can use some of these shades as highlights on your face. Like, Essence is so overlooked. I think it is such a good company. I love how they have really affordable prices, so I'm going to keep this as an affordable option for my channel. So I do wish it had like a little bit more variety in there, but it is still a really nice eyeshadow palette. I really do like the formula on them as well. So moving towards the back, I have this Winkie Luxe Kit palette. This I thought was really nice, and this shade here, I think it was absolutely beautiful. So I might deep hot that one, but all the other ones I have shades just like this in my collection, so I might deep hot this one because this is a very unique shade. I used this when I first got it in like a tutorial or something like that, but you probably can't see it over my tattoo. Let me try to get a spare spot on my hand. But this was like the standout shade in the palette. I felt it has like a duochrome finish to it. It's so beautiful. So I am going to depot that. I'll probably put it with like those Kat Von D metal shadows. People are gonna get these palettes and be like, what the hell? They're not even like complete palettes, but whatever. I've paid a lot of money for this stuff, so I do not care. Okay, so this next thing is going to be an Urban Decay. This is for single shadows. I'm not going to get rid of these because my brother bought this one for me. I bought this one years ago, but I never use it, but I'm just going to keep this because I won't get rid of this because it's nostalgic. Like, when my family buys me makeup, I just can't, like, bring myself to get rid of it. But this is, like, a nice little topper shade. I just think it's really beautiful. I don't really ever reach for it, but it's got a special place in my heart, so I'm going to hang on to it. Okay, moving to the back, we'll get the Jeffree Star Cosmetics Beauty Killer palette. I never reach for this just because it's pushed to the back of my drawer, but I need to bring this out in my collection because I do really like this, and this hot pink shade, god damn, is so pigmented. I really want to get his new palette, like the one with the reds, I don't know the exact name of it, but god damn, pinks like that are very hard to come by, so I am going to keep this palette because I don't use it enough. So I'm going to bring this out in my collection to get a little bit more use out of it, and then I'll kind of make a decision at a later date on that. So this next one is going to be the Blink Electric Eyes palette. This is another BoxyCharm one. I thought this was really beautiful, but this is very similar to what I have in that 35F palette, so I am going to get rid of this. Very beautiful shades, but I just don't have a use for it anymore. That's where a lot of these palettes are coming from now that I look at it. Like, there's so many BoxyCharm ones. This is another one I got in BoxyCharm. This is the Naked Cosmetics. I don't even think this has a name on it. I remember getting this months ago. Very beautiful shades, but never use them. Just like other shadows that I have, so I'm going to pass this on. And then we have the Too Faced Sugarpop palette. I don't think I've ever even touched this. Like, I swatched it probably, but I just never reached for it. I think I got it at Nordstrom Rack or something like that. It was on sale, but I never use it, so I am going to pass this one on. Then we have this BH Cosmetics Enhancing Eyes eyeshadow palette for green eyes. I don't think these are good at all, but I tell you what, when their festival palette comes out, I am definitely buying that. But this just gives me, like, child vibes, so I'll probably give this to like Jaclyn or something. I just think it's kind of like a matte eyeshadow palette, but these were really nice for when I first got into makeup. Like, these were my first purchases. Like, that's what we're kind of getting into, is like stuff that I bought when I first got into it. And then like the Naked palette was my very first one, but then these were like what I got into after that, thanks to social media. We're gonna get into a video about that, by the way. So this is the ColourPop Where the Light Is by Kathleenlights. I am not impressed with these at all. Like, no hate towards Kathleenlights, but I do not like, I don't like their mattes in these. Like, I don't think they blend at all. Like, you're supposed to apply them with your finger, but these ones even, I'm just not really impressed with it. So I am going to pass this on just because I don't reach for it. I don't really like the formula on them. They're just more difficult for me to work with, so sorry, Kathleen, I love you, but this is gonna go. Okay, this next one, you can see Jaclyn got a hold of it. So this is the Wet n Wild Comfort Zone palette. I am going to just throw this out because she demolished it, but this is such a beautiful eyeshadow palette. Like, if you're looking for a really good eyeshadow palette at the drugstore, this is a nice one. It just don't have mattes in it. So you're probably going to want to pick up some other mattes, but this is a really nice, like, shimmery eyeshadow palette. I do really like this, but she beat the shit out of it for me. So these next ones, I'm just going to pull all these out because these are all BH Cosmetics. Like, actually I have two more from BH Cosmetics. Like, I went ham with BH Cosmetics because back when I first started watching YouTube, this is all that people talked about. So this eyeshadow palette, like, let me swatch this really quick. These are baked eyeshadows. Okay, I was expecting it to be not as good as that, but it's still kind of like meh. But these are so old, so I do think I'm going to get rid of it just because I never reach for these at all. And like, that one broke, so somebody must have dropped that. It was probably me, but I do remember somebody dropping that, so I'm sure that's what happened. Let me see this one so I can compare it to the Jeffree Star one. Yeah, Jeffree Star is definitely better, but I do think I'm going to pass these on. Like, okay, I should probably tell you guys what the names of them are. This is the Wild at Heart, Wild Child, Wild and Free, and the Missy Lynn eyeshadow and baked highlighter palette. Never touched this, I don't think. Maybe once or yeah, I have touched it because it is a little bit gone. But I just don't really like baked eyeshadow, so I'm going to get rid of all 4 of those. You guys, I just made up for like my entire keep pile right there. And then this is the Bitsy Cosmetics Carly Bible palette. I personally was not impressed at all with this palette, and I received my mirror broke, so I was really upset about that. But I was just kind of like, well, whatever, because at that time it was so hard to get this palette. But the highlighters in this were really nice, but these, I felt like you had to work so hard to get them to work. And I don't know, maybe it was just me, but everybody loves this palette, and I'm just kind of like, okay, it's a nice eyeshadow palette, especially for beginners. Like, if you're a beginner, I would say this is a really nice, like, everyday type of palette. And it's nice that it has those highlighters in there. But as far as, like, me with my experience now, I would not recommend this just because I felt like I had to use so much product to get it to look somewhat decent. So this was a pass for me. I'm going to pass it on. And then we have the Bitsy Cosmetics Party Girl After Hours palette. I use this once in a great while, not enough to keep it, and looking at it, I do have shadows that I could probably use instead, so I'm going to pass this on. I kind of feel bad getting rid of all of the Bitsy Cosmetics palettes, but I'm telling you, that festival palette is calling me so hard. But this one I've used, I think, like a lot during like Halloween time. Maybe I'll keep this one because it does have some cool pops of color in there. Maybe I'll keep it just to have a BH palette. So I will keep that one because I do use that once in a great while. The other ones I just don't ever touch. So next one we have the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea Volume 2 eyeshadow palette. I got this in BoxyCharm a couple months ago. This was when BoxyCharm like took the fuck off. Like the wait list was crazy because everybody saw that this palette was in there. This is a really nice eyeshadow palette. I just don't reach for it because when I use an eyeshadow palette, I want it to inspire me, and this doesn't. And there's no mattes in it. Like, it's all shimmers. At least that's what it looks like by looking at it. Like, that looks more of like a satin. Like, it's a decent eyeshadow palette. I think it was a really nice find for the BoxyCharm box, but for my collection, it's just kind of like useless at this point. So I am going to pass this on, but I did really like this when I did use it. Okay, then the next one is going to be the Studio Makeup On The Go eyeshadow palette. I got this in another BoxyCharm. This was nice, but not my favorite by any means. I thought the shade was a complete dud. It just did not work really well for me. I'm going to pass this on because, again, I have so many other shades like this in my collection, and I don't really rock with cool tones too often, so I don't need a ton of cool tones in my collection, so I'm going to pass this on, but I thought it was a decent eyeshadow palette. And then we have the Real Her Playbook eyeshadow palette too. I did not like this palette at all. Like, it looked really promising when I looked at it, and then I was just kind of like, meh. Another one, it's just kind of like basic. Like, these kind of palettes are nice for BoxyCharm because it's a really good way for people to get into makeup. But for people like me that have bigger collections already, like, I have so many things like this, as you heard me say like 8,000 times by now. So I'm going to pass that on. And then the last one is going to be the Sigma Flare palette. I bought this basically because it had a dual-ended brush with the Sigma E40 in it, the one that you used to hear all the time about on YouTube. So I only bought this for that. These swatch decent, but not the best, so I am going to pass this one on. Holy goddamn, look at how dirty that drawer is, you guys. Let's wipe that out real quick. Oh my god, I am so proud of myself right now. Look how much better that looks and how much more room I have, and you can actually see so much more. You can see every single palette in here. I'm so excited. So I kept 27 palettes, and let me see how many that I ended up getting rid of. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, you guys, so this is going to be all the palettes that we kept. I put all of those Metal Crush shadows in this palette right here, so you can see. We just put little backstoppers from what I usually get with Z palette. They kind of look like this, but I use the square ones. So I just put those on the back and put them right in the Z palette. Oh, Jaclyn wants to say hi. She's so excited because she gets to go through this big pile of 29 eyeshadow palettes. We ended up keeping 27 and a half because we kept those ones there. But we ended up decluttering 29 and a half eyeshadow palettes. So that is going to be everything for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys like these types of declutter videos, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel before you guys leave, and we hope to see you guys in the next one. Peace!